Hello everybody and welcome to Scratch Challenge number 4. In this Scratch Challenge we're going to learn how to animate ourselves. So the first thing you need to do for this Scratch Challenge is we are going to need to get a picture of ourselves into Scratch. So I'm going to use the camera app that's built in, and if you don't see it here when you first launch all your apps, you click down here on all apps and you'll look for it and it will be right here, camera. So I'm going to click on the camera. I'm going to take a picture of myself. So there's a picture of me, hi there. So this is a camera, and because I'm taking the picture by myself, I'm going to have to use the timer. So this is the timer right there. So right now I don't have the timer on, and this is going to give me enough time to press this red button and run to the wall. Here I go. All right, so once you've taken a picture with the camera, you got to make sure you move your photos to Google Drive or to your computer. So you see right here, this is your photo gallery. This is where all your pictures are taken. So I've actually taken 2 pictures of myself, one earlier and one just now. So what you got to do is this down right here is the save to disk. So I press that and I can select the destination or the location or where I want my picture to actually go. So you can place it right within Google Drive, which might be exactly where you want to place it, and that might be a good idea. You might want to give this your file name or remember your file name, or just name it something a little bit easier to remember. So we'll call this challenge number 4. And I'll do the same thing with this one. I'm just saving these right to Google Drive, so I'll have them for other uses if I wanted to. We'll call this challenge number 4B. And you can see right here, the blue tells me where it's saving to, so I click save. All right, now that I've done that, I can close the camera. I'm gonna go get seated so it's a little bit easier and I'm a bit more comfortable in doing this. So now what I'm gonna do is, within Scratch, I kind of have a project pre-started. What you can do is you can also press the camera and take a picture with the camera. Usually when you do this, a little pop-up shows up here asking you if you want to allow Scratch to have access to your camera. The other thing that pops up is usually around here, there's another pop-up that says, do you want to allow or not allow Scratch to have access to your camera? So you're gonna have to do this to get this to work. I don't know why it's looking a little blurry, but in my eyes, it's looking a little blurry, but I'm not gonna use this camera to do it. Instead, I'm going to upload the sprite from file. So I look in Google Drive for where I made that sprite, or sorry, where I saved that picture. There's challenge 4. I'll load this one first. So I'll click open. And there's my new sprite. So once I have a new sprite, I can right click on Scratchy and delete Scratchy the cat. And I want just me. I don't want any of the background. So what you do is you go up to costumes right here and you click on costumes. And now what you can start doing is you can start using something called the remove background tool. The remove background tool works really amazing. So what you do is you actually draw circles around the stuff you want to keep. And I kind of made a mistake there, and the mouse here is really sensitive today. So you draw circles around what you want to keep. So let's just try to get as much of my torso in there as possible, and you can fix it up after. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that. So there's my torso. So there's what it kept. So now it missed my arms. So what you do is you draw lines after you draw your initial circle to kind of help the computer understand, okay, I actually want this arm here. Oh, and then I got it. So now I'm gonna draw this arm here. That worked. Okay, I'm missing some of my face. If you make a mistake, you can always use the undo button to kind of fix your mistake. We'll see how this works. Perfect. It even picked up my hair there. I'm missing hands at the moment. I'll go get my hands after. So push off my legs. And sometimes kind of gaps between your arms and your torso don't work so well, or gaps between your two legs. Like you can see here, it's kind of picking up the gap between my two legs. Not much I can do about that. I'm just going to click on my hand and see if it picks up just my hand. I wouldn't mind having hands. All right, so I don't think that really picked up my hand. I might go handless for today in this picture. And by having a better contrast between yourself in the background, my background is a darker color, maybe perhaps using a lighter color. You taking the picture in a bright area will help kind of pick up some of the contrast between your hands and the background. So there's my first picture. So I'm gonna save that, and I'm gonna, I'll be happy with that. So when you click another tool, it's kind of the finished product right there. So woo, there's me. So let's say I want to add another background or another costume. So I'll add the one of me running, the one that looked like I was kind of running. There it is right there. And again, I can follow the same process to, so now I have two backgrounds. I have this background and this background. So what I can do is, again, I can use the magic wand and I can start to draw a circle. So first you start by drawing a circle kind of inside the object you want to capture. There's my torso. Start there. And now let's get my arms. Oops. I have no head. Let's see if I can get my hand this time. Ooh, it got some on my hand, and we'll try this hand and into my body. There we go. And instead of continuing being a headless horseman-like character, I'll kind of capture my head. Ooh, I have a hand there now this time. Ooh, that's great. So, get my head. Then sometimes you'll pick up your face, but not your hair. So again, you draw the line on your hair. You can see I'm missing a clump of my face right there. And again, having a brighter area to take your picture, having a better contrast between your background and your body are all things that kind of would help out with this. I might try to get see if I can get my legs. Ooh, I have a face missing that spot in where my throat is. And you can kind of get the idea how this works, and you can kind of capture and insert objects into Scratch and start playing with them. I'm going to kind of show you a couple ideas. And the challenge basically is to use different keys, like the S key to make it kind of swirl, or maybe use the B key to blow up, or maybe the T key to turn, or the G key to glide, and you're gonna animate yourself within Scratch, and that's basically the idea. And I'll show you a couple ways you can do this. You're gonna want to program in a reset button, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'll get to coding in a second. That's good enough for me now. All right, so you click any other tool and it saves your work. So there's kind of me, and I'll be happy with that. I won't lose my mind about missing a couple fingers there. So now I'm going to go back to here. You click scripts up at the top, and the clicking scripts up at the top will allow you to start coding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start when I'm going to blow up like a balloon. We'll do this one to start. So I'm going to do when space key pressed. I'm going to do when the B key pressed. That'll be my blow up like a balloon. And we'll also do when G key pressed, I'll glide around. And I'll attach some links to this resource from the Animate Your Name resource from Scratch. And they have a bunch of ideas on how to kind of make different animations happen within Scratch. So blow up G will be glide. We'll do W will be wiggle. We'll do wiggle. So let's go scroll down a little bit for wiggle. And then I'll make the space bar my reset button. Okay, so we'll start easy with wiggle. We'll go a little bit harder with glide and finish off with blow up. So to make something wiggle, what you're gonna do is you go to motion and you're gonna turn 15 degrees in a clockwise direction. And we'll use the turn 15 degrees in the counterclockwise direction. Now, if you connect those together and press W, it's going to seem like nothing's happening, but that's because these two kind of cancel each other out. So what you got to do between them is you got to add a wait. And by adding a wait, we won't wait for a second. We'll wait for a really small period of time. Wait for a quarter of a second or 0.25 of a second. All right, and now let's attach that and see if I wiggle a little bit. Ooh, that's good. So there's my wiggle started, and then what you could also do is you could get that to happen a couple times. So let's say I want the wiggle to actually happen 4 times. Wrap that repeat around. Awesome, so there's a wiggle. The other thing we could do, and I think this would be a fun thing to do, is I don't know if it'll work. Let's just see if it does. And maybe this is something we scrap. Something I sometimes do also is you can also get something. We'll use the C key to change color. And then we go to looks and change color effect by. We'll see if this even works. I don't even know if it works. So every time I press, oh yeah, it's kind of working. So you see as I press the C key, I change colors. So that's kind of fun. And instead of just doing it once, let's do it a whole bunch of times so it kind of looks like I'm changing colors lots and lots. So let's change it 30 times. C. So you kind of see I'm flashing colors, and this is one of those things that kind of can be fun, and it definitely does work. And some of the sprites change colors way more easily than I do, and they have more dramatic color changes. So let's say after doing this, you're like, oh, I'm all the wrong color. So what you want to do is we need to start coding our reset button. So the first thing we've done is we've changed some of the graphic effects on our sprite. So I'm going to add in under looks, clear graphic effects. Now I press the space key, I change back to my original color. So now for the glide key, right now I hope that my position I'm right now positioned at 2025 on the screen. So the first thing I want to do is I want to code my reset button. So that way I always go back also to the starting point when the reset button is pressed. So I'm going to just drag in the go-to. The go-to block will automatically fill in with the current location of your sprite. So I'm very happy with that location. When the glide key is pressed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the sprite to glide around randomly. So I'm going to use the glide and the X size of my screen. So from one side to the other is, I believe, about 240 pixels. So I'm going to pick a random number. Oh, I'm going to be tricky. Let's make it from negative 200 to positive 200. So it's not all the way to 240, but it'll give you most of the screen. And I think the up and down is 180 pixels. And if you aren't sure of this, you can go and click on the choose backdrop from the library. And if you go to other, there's a backdrop called X and Y grid, and it tells you the exact dimensions of your screen. And it's just taking a second to load for me here. But that's a way that you can figure out what the dimensions of your screen are. So it's 240, I believe, left and right, or on the y-axis. And I think it's about 180 by negative 180 on the x-axis. And I can also check that by looking down here at the values as I move my cursor around. So I'm going to pick a random number for my y value for between negative 150 and 150. So now it's going to glide somewhere random every time I press the G key. Are you ready for this? So G, 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 G. And you get the idea. And if I press the reset button, back to the start. Perfect. So there's my glide. There's my reset. There's my color. And there's my wiggle. Awesome. So now we're going to see if I can blow myself up. So there's two ways to blow yourself up. The first thing we got to do is we're going to have to increase our size. There's lots of different things you can do. And really, you can be really, really creative with this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick change size by 10. That's the first part of it. And I'm also going to, where is it? Change color effect by 25. And what you can do is I'm going to not only grow, but I'm going to change the fisheye by, let's just change it by 5. It's actually going to look like I'm blowing up like a balloon when I change that. And I'm going to actually slow down some of my growing. I'm going to add a little weight in there for 1/4 of a second again. And the last thing I'm going to do, so let's just press the B key. Let's see if it works. And you can see I'm definitely blowing up. And that is awesome. So what I'm going to do is instead of just being the B key, I'm going to make it repeat a couple times when I do that. Make that repeat 5 times. B. Perfect. And now my space key, well, it doesn't fix everything. So the clear graphic effects takes away the fisheye. But what I have to do is I need to go to looks, and I also need to set size to, instead of it being 195%, which is what it's at right now, I need to make sure it's set to 100%. So now when I press the space key, I go back to my normal size. So now B blows me up like a balloon, and then space key returns me back to normal. Another fun thing we could do is I'll make a costume button. So we'll go to events, and we'll make it when the, let's make it when the, come on please, there we go. Make it when the right arrow key is pressed. You can go to switch to next costume. So this is a way to kind of toggle between your two costumes. So there's me changing costumes as well. And that's an easy way to kind of animate yourself. So once you're done, give your project a title. Maybe make sure your words are spelled correctly. And then what you need to do is you need to tell the user what you're doing. So we need to remember the G, the B, the C, the W, and the right key. So C project page. And we're going to give descriptions to the people using the project on how to operate and use this project. So what I'm going to do is I'd say use the B, W, or else I use the glide, G, C, and the right arrow to animate Ryan. The space bar is the reset. Okay. Once you're done, and if you want to share this project to a studio, you need to click share. And now other people can see my project. And then I can take this project and I can share it to a studio. And I'd love for you guys to share your work that you do to the studio that I will attach to in my YouTube description and to the link on Google Plus where I'll be posting this. I hope you like this challenge, and I look forward to seeing how you've animated yourselves. Take care and goodbye.